All right, so hi guys. Another late night Michi kind of video. Hopefully my microphone is fixed and hopefully my fan isn't way too loud. But I decided that I've had a couple of people request this in live streams and like Q&As and random questions I've done in the past where they wanted to know some of my like paranormal experiences because I've had some and I was always hesitant to like post some of them because they're not like extreme like some people's story times, I have had quite a few, but you know what? I thought, oh, screw it. It's October. It's time for spoopy scary skeletons, and it's time for sharing stories and instances and other things too. Now, I think I need to like before I like set the stage for my story time, I need to explain a couple of things because if I don't, it's there's gonna be so many weird things that are not gonna make sense. So this happened when I was in middle school, and I remember this was before the economy crashed. So it was before 2008. Um I don't remember what grade I was in middle school, but I remember I was in middle school, and the reason why I say this is because my parents actually were very smart with their money, and hence why they were able to be okay when the economy crashed. But or the housing market, whatever you want to consider it. I consider it the economy crashing, but other people like to debate it. But I remembered that where I was going to middle school was a brand new middle school. Me being there at sixth grade. For people who are in other countries, pretty much how it works in the U.S. is we have preschool and kindergarten and daycare, and then we have kindergarten in some cases. I went to a preschool kindergarten when I was younger. Then you have elementary school, which is grades 1 through 5, and then you have middle school or junior school or junior high. I don't know why I said junior school. Um, Mine was considered a middle school. I don't like some were considered middle school, some were considered junior high, but never really mattered. So I was going junior high, and then you have high school and then college. So I was going to this junior high, and I'm already probably rambling and messing it up. I didn't like write this out because it's a memory, and I probably should have, but close to where the school was because this is before the economy crashed. There were a lot of houses being built, and a lot of land being bought, and I remember that my parents they didn't buy the house at all, but they had their name down on a plot, and there wasn't really security in this area. So I remember we would get to go through all the time, and my mom would like drive through and tell us all the stories and all the plans she had for this big house because it was going to be a really big house. Um, Obviously, we never got the house, but I remember that. So that's why we were like driving to this abandoned. Well, it wasn't abandoned. It was just not built. Housing plot section of dirt, and we were with my friend who I'm gonna call Ron for this video. He was one of my best friends. He's still one of my friends today, but I don't want to name him just to out him. But Ron was with us, and I think we were just hanging out or something. And then my mom was taking Ron home, and my mom decided to stop off at the plot, which we would actually do a lot because my parents were very excited to get this house, and so we were there, and I remember it was myself, Ron, my mom, and I believe my brother Corey. I could be wrong. It could have been my brother Brandon, but I'm pretty sure Corey was there. And ironically enough, we were talking about paranormal experiences and afterlife and stuff like that. I, honest to God, to this day, I don't remember how we got on that topic, but I remember we got on that topic, and I suddenly felt extremely hot sitting in the car. Now the car was off, the windows were down. It was a very nice night, but I started to get really hot. Now, unlike sorry about that cut there. My air conditioning just turned on. I thought I had it off. I was very wrong. So, whenever I've felt some sort of paranormal entity, this has just been my whole life. I always thought it was odd when I would like watch shows and movies where they would talk about cold spots. I felt cold spots, but whenever I felt something, I don't know how to describe it, but something that was off, I would just suddenly out of nowhere get really hot. And I didn't like, start putting two and two together until really this moment because a lot of it I just thought was like coincidences and instances like that. And so what ended up happening was, I'm not saying I'm a psychic or anything. Some of my friends think I am, but I don't consider myself that because I can't. That's a debate for another time. I'm just not going to get into that. It's going to be a whole long thing. So anyway, I started getting really, really hot, and I started like looking around to see if I had seen anything, like while we're talking and stuff. Because my friend Ron, he didn't believe in that kind of stuff, you know. And my mom was talking about some stories she had, and I believe my brother was pitching, and we were just talking, and you know, it was a very friendly, nice debate. And I remember seeing, now, okay, I guess it's something else I should explain. Whenever I've seen something like spirits or entities or anything, I have very rarely seen something solid. I swear to God, I honest to God, when I was younger, I thought I was crazy. Like, I thought I had something wrong because I would see things in the corner of my eye, and I would see things that it was like they were kind of there, but not really. They all had this like weird semi-transparency to them. And because of that, that's why I would always like, is that really there? Is that really a thing? Or am I just seeing things, you know? But this was one of the instances where it was a very, very physical thing. This was something that I had never witnessed before, and I have never witnessed since. So while they were talking, I looked out the window and I saw a woman in white, and she was walking back and forth in a perpendicular line very slowly, not looking at the car, not looking at us, nothing, and just like walking. And it was the weirdest thing. And I remember like I would turn back, talk to my friend, and I would come back, and she would slowly be getting closer to the car, but she wouldn't be walking towards the car. She wouldn't. Um it was like a movie in my head. I remember like I would and it was on this weird loop where she was just walking in a straight line, and then she was like, when I looked back, she was closer, but she was, you know, still not looking at the car, not even looking in the direction of the car, just walking in a very straight line. And it was literally like a movie kind of skip. And I remember just like completely forgetting about the conversation, and I was just staring because I started getting hotter and hotter, and I started getting more scared. And it got to the point because I was scaring myself because like every time I would look back and join in the conversation, she was getting closer and closer to the car, and like no one else seemed to notice anything, and it was very dark, but this was very clearly a woman in white. And this is also before I like knew about like woman in white like lore and crap like that. So I remember just I started feeling my heart race, and I started freaking out, and I started, you know, breathing. And I remember that I like looked like my Ron like tapped me on the shoulder or said something to get my attention, and I looked at him. I was like, "Huh?" He was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just looking at the lady outside." And my mom instinctively, she, you know, put her lights on, and like we looked out, and no one could see her, but I could still see her. And they're like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "You know, the lady." And they were like, haha, very funny. Even my mom and my brother were like, very funny, you know? And I looked back, and she was really close to the car. She was really close. And I started getting really, really scared. And then, you know, Ron was like, okay, this isn't funny, and and I started freaking out, and I started hyperventilating. And my mom was worried I was having an asthma attack, because fun fact, I used to have asthma as a kid. And so I remember looking back, and I remember being so scared. I was like, I don't want to look at the window. She's going to be right at the window. She's going to be there. She's going to be there. I know she's going to be there. She's so close. No one else can see her. And I started like, I really freaking myself out. And my mom was getting really worried. And my friend Ron was getting worried. My brother was getting worried. And that stupid instinct, though, that stupid instinct that tells you to look, I looked, and she was right there, right in the window. And she didn't like reach in. She didn't try to touch me. She didn't look at me. She was just there. And oh my God, clear as day. I can still remember seeing just how like fine her hair was, and how perfectly clean and weird her white dress was. And I just screamed. I screamed bloody murder. I was so terrified. Everybody else in the car screamed because suddenly I'm screaming. I felt like my body was on fire. I had no idea what was happening. My mom turned on the car. We bolted out of there. And I started just crying and screaming, and I was freaking out, and my friend was freaking out, my mom was freaking out. They all thought I had like some like mental break or whatever, because literally no one saw what I was talking about. And I had never had an instance before where, like I said, this was a physical thing, and I would have thought it was just a person if it wasn't for the fact that my mom and my friends in the car did not see her. And that was it. We would go back. I would never see her again. I would never get the hot feeling. And that's my most terrifying paranormal experience. I've had a couple of other weird, like, premonition dream things. Again, they're not, I've only ever had 2 in my entire life, but they were both very weird. If you guys want me to tell those as well during the spoopy season, like, let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, that was my most terrifying experience. Didn't get chased down, didn't get attacked, blah, 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 blah. But it was just, and this is something that is still stuck with me to this day. Because every now and then if it's out and I'm driving at night, I will not have my windows down. And if I do, I have to have all the lights on, and I just, heebies. But yeah, all right, I'm rambling. I hope you guys enjoyed. I make new videos every Wednesday, and let's enjoy October, why don't we? So, as always, guys, I will. See you next time. Bye.